Hello, good morning. My name is Terry Samuels. I'm the owner of Salterra Digital Services, SEO University, SEO Spring Training with my wife Elisabeth. Anyways, so today I got a big question, and it's my fault. I forgot. I did mention I was going to do this, and I forgot. So anyways, today we're still talking about the internally linking and siloing, but today we're going to talk about anchor text and which anchor text to use. So here's the anchor text situation. So anchor texts are typically in three categories. You have branded keywords, and then you have keywords. Okay, so anchor texts you need to look at, are these anchor texts for internal website stuff, or is it for external building backlinks? So there's a couple rules of thumb that I have. So we don't do much branded anchors within our internal siloing and internal linking on our websites. Unless it's going to an about page or something, I really don't think it makes much sense on the internal system. We do like branded keywords, and we definitely obviously like regular keywords, exact match. So my favorite thing to do is I'm going after, let's say, cool sculpting, and I want a whole bunch of different anchors that I can look for and use around cool sculpting. So you can do LSI terms, you can do other variations of the topic. ChatGPT is really, really good at, especially if you've personalized it to the client, is really good at going out and giving you ideas of what are good anchor text. The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to use the same anchor over and over and over and over again. Okay, so that's the problem with automated internal link building systems. They'll say, hey, every time cool sculpting comes up, this word and content, send it to this web page. Well, obviously there's a lot of things wrong with that, especially if you are writing within clusters like we do, and the word cool sculpting is mentioned, but let's say it wasn't the direct topic of the article, then I don't want an automatic internal anchor link going outside that silo that I'm building. So one of the big reasons we don't allow internal anchors in any of our systems, or automated anchors. But I can take and go to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, give me 15 different variations of this anchor that I can use as anchor text in other articles or publications. And so it'll come out and it'll give us, a list of pretty good variables, and then, and as you're writing and as you're going through content, you can even script it out. You can, in your prompts that you're doing, and by the way, if you ever want to see all my ChatGPT prompts, just email me and I'm happy to send them to you. But through your prompting system, you can tell them what you're planning on doing for your next anchor. So when I write and I ask ChatGPT to give me 10 supporting blog content around this topic, in that prompt I'm also telling it that each one of these are going to be anchored together and to give me different anchor variations for contextual anchors. So when you start looking at anchoring, and you do want to have a variation. So I don't typically like one word anchors like cool sculpting. I'd rather have like cool sculpting treatments, or Salterra cool sculpting, or a branded keyword type situation. Sometimes single keyword anchors work okay, but I think they get lost in the shuffle. I really do. But you also need to keep track. If you also don't want to go the opposite extreme and be so spread out that you're not anchoring enough for the main anchor. Every single page has a main anchor. If it's cool sculpting, then it's cool sculpting. That's the main anchor. So I don't want to look at my anchor profile for my website and say, geez, I've got 40 different variations of this cool sculpting anchor, but I have none, or I have only 5 for cool sculpting, or cool sculpting type of thing. So when you start thinking about the internal anchors that you're going to use, just make sure that number one, you don't over anchor one term over and over again. And number two is you don't do the opposite of not anchoring enough. I like 50% direct anchors, 50% variations. So, but you also have to make sure that is it spread out over 5 articles? Is it spread out over 50 or 100? So as your website grows, keeping track of your anchor text becomes more and more and more important. and you'll find out patterns. So you'll be working on something, and then you'll find out maybe a certain anchor is really doing a lot of good as far as positive movements. Then you might want to use that anchor a couple more times. Just pay attention to what anchors you're using. Now, if you're talking anchors off-site, as far as building backlinks to your website or to your page, that's a whole different ballgame. We typically only do either branded or branded keywords. We very rarely will do exact match unless we're going to a pillar page or something that I can remove if that anchor is a wrong anchor. So anyways, I hope that clears it up. I know you'll have more questions on it. Send your questions to me about different anchor texts. But get creative with ChatGPT. Ask it for ideas. And then when you're writing this content, try to include those ideas into the content. ChatGPT and Claude and all these ones are really, really good at that stuff compared to hiring a content writer and having them struggle trying to do all this stuff. So anyways, hope that answers your questions for this one, and thank you and have a great day.